The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great.
Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Well. Look what day it is. It is Friday morning here in beautiful Hamilton, Ohio. Welcome on in. I am Elliot Michael Rearing. That is Michael. The second Michael was my confirmation name.
Oh, so you're Elliot Michael Rearing.
I'm
that
Elliot.
Was not a mistake.
No, correct. I did it on purpose.
Okay.
And my parents love that, so I did. I'm Elliot Michael Rearing. That's Jacob.
Daryl. Tissett. Just one middle name.
Okay. And that's Casey.
Todd McCallister.
That's right. Todd McCallister. Okay.
Start calling him Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. That's right.
CT.
Because you're a sharp. Did you get it?
Because he cuts.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
That's right.
So listen, thank you very much to everybody who came out last night to Champions.
That's right.
We do a live show there every other Thursday. Seeing Mark and Michael and Sirboy and Rico and Nathan and everybody else that came out. Thank you very, very much for coming to support us. That meant the world to us. We had a fun time. It was a very fun night. Jacob's entire family was there, I think, or at least friends and family. And we had Casey's 25-person family was there, and my family was there. I think my dad showed up after the show. He just showed up and he said, "You know what? I'm not going to come during the actual part. I'll just come for a beer afterwards." So that's fine. I support that.
Your dad is electric.
Listen, he's a happy little guy. That guy, and
he walked in, gave me a good classic dad little shoulder shake.
Yeah, he always grabs the shoulders.
Love that.
He's a shoulder guy.
And then the waitress brought him, I think, the biggest draft beer I've ever seen. She just knew what he wanted and where he was going to be.
Oh my, yeah. So I met Mrs. I met Mrs. Tissett last night for the very first time.
She was very excited to meet everybody.
I will say, Casey, I met Mr. Hines.
You did, didn't
Nathan
you?
Hines.
Yeah.
Nathan Wines.
No.
But it was a good time. It was
fun.
So shout out to everybody. Hopefully I see more of you in the future.
2 Tuesdays from now, we'll be right back.
That's right. 2 Tuesdays from now, we'll be right back.
One Tuesday or Thursday?
So it won't be
not Tuesday.
So it won't be next Thursday. It won't be next. Yeah, well, there's nothing to do with Tuesdays.
There's nothing to do with Tuesdays.
It won't be next Thursday.
But
It'll be the Thursday
following.
after that.
I see some suggestions in the chat, some assumptions in the chat that we will not be streaming the Bengals Thursday Night Football games when those come about from Champions. That couldn't be more incorrect.
Yeah.
I'll be there for all of those games doing a pregame show and then watching them with you guys. So those are the ones that you especially should be coming out for.
Correct. I'm also seeing Reed in the chat. Did he walk to work? Is that real?
I hope not, but it seems real.
I got distracted by his comments. There's no way he walked to work, right?
When he came in here, he was frazzled. He was noticeably frazzled.
Okay.
So he could have walked to work.
I gave him a handshake. I thought he felt fine, but maybe he walked to. If not, that's a hell of a walk. That's a hell of a commute there by our guy Rita Roo.
You should have to walk to work one day.
No, I'll walk to work. What's a punishment bad enough? Like what punishment fits or what crime fits that punishment?
I'll walk to work if the Bengals don't make the playoffs.
You'll walk to work if the Bengals don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll leave on Friday morning. I'll get here by the time the show starts.
So we'll clip that. I mean, that's a 6.5 hour walk.
Yeah, there's quite literally no way I would physically.
I think
be
it's
able to
more
do
than
that.
6.5 hour
I would
walk.
die.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's highways.
That's the other thing. Like you almost couldn't walk on the highways because it's so dangerous.
It would be illegal.
Oh, is it?
I think so. For that long of a distance.
Is it? Are we sure? I don't know. I don't know the laws.
If he can hitchhike, if he's allowed to hitchhike, then maybe it gets done. But there's no way he gets it done in a day.
I don't know how much of an exaggeration it was to say I would leave on Saturday morning and get here by the show. Because I'd have to take breaks. I'm not in great shape. That's a long walk.
I couldn't do it at all. But some noticeable things that happened in the world of sports yesterday. You had a Thursday night football game that happened. Wasn't good, but it happened. You had Shohei Otani accomplish a pretty amazing feat. You had the Cincinnati Reds. They played. We were at Eli's for lunch yesterday. We were just watching the Reds game, and boy, was that fun. So, we got a lot to talk to you about. We're going to make a lot of picks today as well, the same thing we did last Friday.
That's right. This is starting to be a thing.
Friday shows, we're just going to make picks, and we're going to make picks, and we're going to see who wins.
And we're not going to track records.
That's
the most important thing.
I don't know what our records were last week.
And that's the good thing.
We would have to go and see.
Because I know I didn't do well.
I don't think I did well either. Mouse Cop wants to know why he's a fraud, because he didn't show up, Mouse. And I want you to show up. I want you to be there. I want to give you a big old hug. That's why. It's not a big deal. I'll just call you a fraud until you show up. And then once you show up, you're no longer a fraud. That's right.
That's for Mouse when he comes to
That's
champions.
right. But okay, we'll start. Do you want to start with headlines?
Let's start with headlines.
Let's start with the headlines. I think that makes a lot of sense.
That's what you
Elliott
should.
loves
That's
three
how
things.
headlines.
Joey Votto,
Yes.
David Bell, and leading off the bench with top headlines.
That's right. Thank you, Casey. The Reds, they played a game. They were dismantled by the Atlanta Braves. 15-3, the final score. Aguilar gave up 7 earned runs in 4 innings of work. Brandon LeBrant, in his 4 innings, also gave up 7 earned runs. 2 pitchers gave up 14 earned runs. LeBrant gave up 10 hits as well during his 4 innings of beautiful play. Rhys Hines, here's a little nugget. Rhys Hines, a guy that was very good for that 1 week, he hasn't had a hit since July 19th.
Surely that wasn't 2 months ago.
July 19th was the last time he had a hit. It's September 20th. Again, 15-3 they lost. We couldn't show up one more time. Whatever. Nonetheless, you know what? I'm not going to get mad. Ellie De La Cruz had a 3-hit game. That's the positives. Blake Dunn hit his first Major League home run. Luke Maile went 2 for 4. That average is rising up, almost at 170.
Big.
Almost at 170 for Luke Maile. Every Brave that started had a hit.
Nice.
Olsen and Harris each had a pair of home runs. They're the Braves themselves added 2 more home runs on top of that. And if you really like the Reds, if you're a sicko like me, the Reds are back at it tonight. Mitch Keller takes on Nick Martinez. Keller has a 3.87 ERA. Nick Martinez a 3.37 ERA. That is at Great American Ballpark. So come down. Nelly's singing tonight. If you don't like the Reds, don't even show up for the game. Just come for Nelly post-game. Make sure you sit in your assigned seats. Around the league, Astros, they beat the Angels 3-1. John Singleton's 2-run double in the 8th was the game winner there. The Cubs beat the Nationals in a game that meant nothing, so good for the Cubs. Diamondbacks, they win 5-1 over the Milwaukee Brewers. Brandon Pfaadt tied an Arizona record with 7 consecutive strikeouts. How about that? Mets, they refused to lose. They walloped the Phillies 10-6. The 3rd game in a row where the Mets have scored 10 runs. The 3rd game in a row where the Mets have scored 10 runs. I wonder how many years the Reds would have to play to have 3 straight games where they scored 10 runs.
The Angels haven't scored 10 runs yet this year.
Is that real?
Yeah, only team in the league.
Oh, boy. Pirates, they beat the Cardinals in a battle of wits. 3-2 the final. Who cares? Rays, they shut out the Red Sox. Good for them. Dodgers, they blast the Marlins to the moon, winning 20-4. Do we want to do this now, or do we want to wait for this one?
Let's save it.
Let's save
We'll
that
get
one.
into it.
Okay, so they blast the Marlins 20-4. Shout out to Skip Schumacher. He said in the post-game press conference, we're not going to intentionally walk Shohei Otani. It's for the betterment of the sport.
True.
That worked out for you, Skip. That worked out for you.
The sport, and that's what he cares about.
It's true. It worked out for the sport. Great. Yankees, they fall to the Mariners 3-2. Nobody cares. Blue Jays, they shut out the Rangers 4-0. Those teams stink. Guardians walked off the Twins to clinch their playoff spot. So the Guardians, you are officially a postseason team. Almost. Is that a wire-to-wire? Are they going to go wire-to-wire if they win it all? Have they been trailing in the division yet?
I don't know. They had to have been.
No, I don't think they did, dude. They started out so high.
They did. You're right.
They were like 16-4 or something. I don't know. We'll see if Craig can check me on that one. Maybe the wire-to-wire Guardians. Thursday night football. Again, we talked about it a little bit. Terrible game. The Jets win 24-3 over the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers dominated. 27 for 35 in the game, 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. QBR 118.9. I don't know what QBR means. What's a good QBR?
Anything over 100 is like a really good game.
Braylon Allen and Breece Hall combined for 27 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Conklin, 5 catches, 93 yards. Lazard, 3 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Credit to me. Garrett Wilson, 5 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown.
Credit to me.
Credit to Jacob and Jersey Jerry.
That's right.
And to make the Patriots feel worse, Jacoby Brissett, 12 for 18, 98 yards.
One of these days,
98 yards.
More targets to wide receivers, though.
I did see that.
So he's starting to throw the ball to the
Are
guys.
we sure that was him, though? because I was looking at the stats, and I saw that Hooper had a lot of them, and then there was a couple running back things, and then it was the other quarterback I think was throwing to the other guys, right?
I think almost all of Drake May's attempts were to wide receivers, which is a good sign that he knows to throw the ball to wide receivers.
Okay, all right, just making sure. Again, that's the final score there, 24-3. Some of us had some bets in that game that lost. Greg Zerlin couldn't make another field goal for me. Very unfortunate, but that's it for headlines. That's the world of sports. I guess if I wanted to be specific about some other things as well, I might as well. We have Joel Embiid, a 3-year, $192 million deal.
Wow, for a deal like that, you assume he's been to at least the conference finals before.
No. And here's the thing about him, at least he's always healthy.
Right.
If
When it
he's
matters
not-
most, he's
Correct.
out there.
If he's not going to win championships, at least he's going to play basketball consistently at a high level.
You know what they always say, the best ability is being out in the playoffs.
That's correct. Other than that, we have a WNBA record crowd that saw Caitlin Clark. They lost to the Mystics yesterday, but it was a record crowd, to be fair, so good for them.
Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she has now broken the record in the WNBA for rookie assists per game, rookie three-point field goals made, rookie total points, rookie triple-doubles, rookie guard double-double streak, rookie points assists double-doubles, rookie all-star game assists, and rookie total rebounds.
How about
Along
that?
with many more. But
How about
still
that?
a toss-up for rookie of the year, if I had to guess.
Craig says Guardians took the lead mid-April. That's right. That makes sense. The Royals and Tigers both had a lead at the beginning of the season. So, no wire-to-wire, but just a good season, I guess. But maybe the Reds will have a good season one of these days.
That would be fun.
Just a season where they have the division for 6 months. I'd like that. It won't happen. But that's it for headlines. Thank you guys for tuning in today on a Friday. It's going to be a silly show. We don't have Kenner. We don't have Reed in here. So it's just going to be us being silly little goofs. But talking about the Thursday night game, any notable performances there? Well, I saw Aaron Rodgers shrugged off the hug incident. If nobody saw the clip, it looked like he went over to give his coach, Robert Salah, a little two-hand push. I think it's like a celebratory thing. Maybe you give him a little push, and then he pushes you back. Well, it looked like head coach Robert Salah went for the hug, and then Aaron Rodgers didn't like the hug.
It seemed to me like Aaron said, don't call that.
Okay.
Which I would assume, I mentioned it before the show. I think when you have Aaron Rodgers on your team at this point, you need to realize that he's going to be the one in charge, at least of the offense.
Yeah.
I think Robert Saleh can take control of the defense. I don't know that Aaron cares about that. But when it comes to the offense and the play calling and what you're going to do in the red zone and everything like that, I think Aaron's going to be in charge, and he's going to be pretty upset when anyone else tries to take over, even if that's his head coach. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think everyone would know that that's where he's at this point in his career. So not too surprising, but he looked great. He looked absolutely amazing. And after week one, I was a little bit nervous. He looked okay in week two, but then he really, really looked good last night. And if Aaron Rodgers can play like Aaron Rodgers, the Jets are going to be really good this year.
Very, very good, especially, again, with the state of that division. Shout out to the Dolphins because I think that might be a train wreck this year. But that's it. Segment 1 here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We are off the bench. Chatterbox Sports. We're going to be right back. And welcome back in. We are Chatterbox Sports off the bench. Elliot, I can't even say my own name. Come on, man.
All-time early
Come on,
football.
man. Elliot Rearing, Jacob Tissett, Casey McAllister. It's a glorious day. Casey, any takeaways from the big Jets win over the Patriots last night? By the way, last week I said the Patriots might be better than we thought, and last night I said the Patriots might be better than we thought. What if they're actually not better than we thought and they actually suck?
That would certainly be a possibility.
I feel like if the quarterback of your team can only throw for 98 yards an entire game, it's not good.
They don't have an offensive line. And I think that's kind of the nicest way to put it. They had a guy playing left tackle before that's never played left tackle at any level. They had Michael Jordan starting at guard, and Bengals fans know about Michael Jordan. I mean, if they put Drake May in there, he might die.
Yeah, I good call keeping Brissett in there. We'll just see what happens. Maybe he wins a game. Maybe they win a couple more games down the stretch. Well, they won one. I know that. Casey, any takeaways from the game?
Yeah, I got a couple. Clearly, the Patriots, their only way of winning ball games is keeping it close and not getting down super bad early so that it can continue to run the ball. That's how they were able to stay in games, beat us, the Cincinnati Bengals being us in week one, and then keeping it close versus the Seattle Seahawks. They obviously got down pretty early against the Jets, and the Jets have a really good pass rush, so they just weren't able to get themselves back into the game by throwing the football. They were going to have to run the ball, and they're shutting that down too. It's going to be really tough sledding for a team being able to move the ball against the Jets. I think that's just a known fact. They're one of the best defenses around the league, despite having a couple players not playing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be completely out on the Patriots being the better than we thought idea. I think that they can be better or better than the worst team in the league. I think the Panthers clearly have that spot.
No,
locked
100%.
up.
100%.
They're going to probably get the number one pick once again.
And take a quarterback?
Take a quarterback? Maybe. The Patriots are a little bit different. I think they're going to be just good enough to be not the number one pick, but probably still in that top 10 pick selection. Clearly, you can't win ball games in this league without a quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett is just not getting it done.
No, listen, the Patriots, the defense is okay. I don't think it's the world's best defense, but I think it's serviceable enough to win a couple games in the NFL. The offense, like we just mentioned, I mean,
Ramondre might kind of stink too.
well, people aren't talking about that. People
6
aren't-
carries, 23 yards, 3.8 per carry. That's not pretty.
No, listen.
Getting outrushed by Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson got into the league at what year? He was really good when he started.
Feels like, well,
it feels like
see, the thing with
can I give
Antonio
you my
Gibson,
prediction of when he came into the league?
yeah,
Because I know I'm going to be. I agree. It feels like he came to the league 10 years ago. I'm going to say he entered the league 2019.
2020.
Okay, so I was right around there.
2020. And he had 1,000 yards rushing in 2021.
Okay.
And then
And then he did.
it gets real ugly. I mean, he was a wide receiver in college. He's never had over 380 receiving yards.
That's kind of nuts.
Like he's a guy every year I thought was going to be much better in Washington, and then he doesn't really have a chance to be great in New England.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be much better in Washington. He never panned out.
We were going to do this segment last night. We didn't really get to it. But the biggest shocks and surprises in the NFL. I was gonna ask you guys this last night. Again, ran out of time. But if you have any notable moments, any shocks, surprises outside of the New Orleans Saints, can I say no New Orleans Saints
That's
for
fair.
this? No New Orleans Saints, because we're all pretty shocked and surprised that somehow Derek Carr and the Saints have scored 91 points through 2 games. I guess I'll go first, and I'll kind of steal maybe Jacobs if he had it. But Sam Darnold by far and away is the pick. I think Sam Darnold.
I don't know that you're allowed to pick them.
I think I am
'Cause
allowed to
you
pick him though.
We're down on Sam Darnold. You said the Vikings were going to stink because of Sam.
I love Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's my favorite player, and everybody has known that. If he is this good with the Vikings, what is he? 72% completion percentage this year, 476 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, a QBR of 111.8. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
If he's going to be this good, I think the Vikings make the playoffs because I think they are better than the Bears right now. I don't. Maybe the Bears figure it out. Maybe Caleb Williams figures it out down the line here.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's the Vikings for me. I'm very shocked. Aaron Jones looks pretty damn good as well. So that was a phenomenal addition. You have Justin Jefferson, who I know doesn't have a ton of help around him right at this second.
If they get Addison back.
But if they get Addison back,
Supposed to play this week, maybe.
you're looking at a damn good team.
Hawkinson
So.
on IR going to come back for the home stretch.
When does he come back? Last 4 weeks?
Well, he tore his ACL at the end of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on the PUP list, so he's able to return to the team active roster after week 5, right? But he might be out for another couple weeks after.
If they're going to he would play in the playoffs if they made it to the playoffs.
That's okay. All right.
Maybe before that. Like if they're in a playoff hunt, he could play like last 3 weeks of the season or something like that, I think.
All right. So we'll see there. Casey, your biggest surprise, your biggest shock.
Speaking of the Bears, it's how bad Caleb Williams has played.
Yes.
And yeah,
I think that's
honestly.
pretty shocking, to be honest. When you do the extrapolation, I know it's only 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the season, but when you do the per game, what he's averaging, he's like averaging 72 sacks this year, 40 interception. It's just ridiculous. He can't be that bad. So it's my way too early. What is this segment? Way too early shockers?
Yeah, shocks. Shocks or surprises.
But I'm shocked that he is this bad so far.
56% completion percentage, 2 interceptions, 267 yards. Not great.
Not great.
I am scooping up as much Caleb Williams stock as I can find right now because a lot of people.
You can have mine. You can have mine.
I'll take it.
You can have mine.
That's a great deal for me. The people are going to look back on that handshake like the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah. So, well, if you're listening on the radio, that meant nothing to you. But we did just do a handshake that seemed like it was the most powerful handshake that's ever been shook.
I got
in the history of
Elliot's
this country.
Caleb Williams stock.
Yeah. So all my Caleb Williams stock goes
I think
to you.
at some point in the near future, Reed and I might own all the Caleb Williams stock within Chatterbox, which puts you guys in a precarious position.
It does. Well, I got my Sam Darnold stock back, and that's all.
I don't think I'm selling it back to you.
I'm not getting.
I would
I'm
have
not,
to agree
I'm
to
not
it.
getting it from you. I'm getting it from outside the market. That's where I'm getting it from. But Jacob, your
You know
biggest.
what happens if you create more stock? It dilutes the market. So your Sam Darnold stock doesn't even mean anything anymore.
If you know anything about me, you know I know nothing. So all this is nonsense. I know nothing about the stock market. I did do stocks for the first time ever during COVID. I learned how to do stocks because I would just wake up in the morning and I would, hey, let's put some money in. What was the one that won a lot of money? GameStop. GameStop. Boom.
I
Won a lot of
prefer
money.
Game Time. Game Time is my favorite.
We'll get that. We'll get to that
in a
later.
minute.
But Jacob, your biggest surprise, biggest shock through 2 weeks of the NFL season.
I'm going to build up to my biggest shock by victory lapping some of my correct takes. So
Okay.
if I were to say a
Sure.
big shock for most people, I would say the Cardinals, but I predicted them correctly. Or how bad the Eagles look, but I predicted that correctly as well. I think the Niners are a pretty big shock how bad they've looked, but obviously you can just point to injuries. I think those are going to ripple throughout their season. I don't know that they're necessarily a lock to even win that division anymore. I think that's a pretty big shock. You guys stole two of my big ones, Caleb Williams and Sam Darnold, but I think Anthony Richardson not taking a step whatsoever has been a shock to a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's had the same struggles that he's had throughout his entire career, both at Florida and then in his first 2 games. He only played 2 games last year. But in the first 2 games, he had a lot of the same struggles he's had so far. He's been a top 10 fantasy quarterback all but 1 week he's played a full game.
Yeah.
But he's not completing anywhere near 50% of his passes.
Yeah.
It's insane how little production he's been able to get out in terms of consistency throwing the football. And he's not running it all that well. Craig, you said, why can't we point out the Saints? It's because we said we have to exclude the Saints.
We
from
have
this
to exclude
segment
the Saints.
because we talked about them yesterday.
Listen, everybody knows how good the Saints have been. Nobody's surprised by the New Orleans Saints. Well, I guess everybody is surprised.
And I think they're going to be bad still.
I don't know if I believe that anymore. I think if they're looking this good through 2 weeks, like this good, if they win 15-0 over the Panthers and you go and you beat the Dallas Cowboys 24-17, I don't think anybody's talking about the Saints. The fact that they've been able to produce this many points is absolutely insane. With the quarterback that they have, I don't mean to knock my guy Derek Carr. He is Andy Dalton 2.0. But yeah, listen, the Saints are a fun team right now. We'll see how that division shakes out. That division's going to be fun down the line. I don't know who's going to win it.
NFC South, no longer the worst division in football.
No longer the worst division in
I
football.
think it's safe to say, right?
You think-
Baker's playing great.
Do you think the NFC West is? Is that right? Or one of them?
I was going to suggest the NFC West and the NFC East.
I don't know if the NFC West is yet.
If the Eagles are not a playoff team, the NFC East is the worst division in football. I also think the AFC South is really, really bad.
Yeah, that's mine.
AFC South's bad.
It's really bad.
AFC South is bad, and they don't have a ton of teams
If
at all.
the
but
Eagles are not a playoff team, what is the NFC East?
if the Eagles are not a playoff team, what is the NFC East?
Because the Giants are going to be in the battle for the number 1 pick.
It would be the Cowboys, and it would be a scrappy.
The Cowboys just got blown out by the Saints. What are they going to win that division at? 10-7?
And then it would be a scrappy Commanders team.
Right.
They're going to scrap their way to 8 wins.
The NFC Beast might be dead.
NFC Beast might be dead. That's fair. Well, I think the AFC North. Is it too early to say the AFC North is going to have a down year?
Yeah, I think so, because I think across the board people still expect the Ravens and Bengals to compete.
That's fair.
If they don't, if one of them doesn't, but if the Steelers are a playoff team, the floor for the division is just so low because you know the Steelers are going to win 9 games.
The Steelers are the most fraudulent team in the NFL. Can we say that?
They might be able to just make games 40 minutes long and win. They scored 1 touchdown and they're 2-0. It's because the other team doesn't have the ball.
Don't get me wrong. A great defense matters in the NFL, and nobody is nobody's saying the Steelers are going to win a Super Bowl or they could win a Super Bowl. But I don't think they're good enough to maintain this pace. They're going to play good teams down the stretch, and again, we've talked about how brutal it is when you play every single divisional opponent after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But it's like there's almost no way they can maintain this. They might win this week. They might go 4-0. They might go 4-0 to start. But I really don't think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs this year. This has to be the first year Tomlin doesn't do it. It has to be.
They won't make the playoffs, but I do think they're going to go above 500. They're just going to be able to beat any team that's worse than them. They're going to lose to every team that's better than them.
If there are good teams and there are bad teams, are the Steelers straight in the middle, or are they
straight in the middle?
That's what I thought. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna try to bash the Steelers today.
I don't know that they're good at anything.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But they're kind of fine at everything.
The quarterback play is whatever. The running back game, I think their running backs have not been great. Najee Harris, I don't know what his stats are this year.
Better,
but it's like I don't really know what's their identity other than they just have a good defense. So maybe that's the identity. We play really good defense. We won't let you score any points. We won't score any points either, and we'll just see who has the most points out of the non-existent offenses that we have here. But that's it. Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Thank you very much for tuning in on this glorious Friday. We're getting ready for the weekend. Whoop, whoop. Can I get a whoop, whoop?
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, Casey. Whoop, whoop. We're going to be right back. Off the Bench. I see the chat's talking about J.C. Penney's. Is that place still around?
I don't know. I like J.C. Penney's though.
What is
it? Pennies or is it a singular penny?
J.C. Penney. I don't know. Casey, I'm gonna look this up. What's your bet?
I'm gonna go penny.
One penny or multiple pennies?
It's just one penny. J.C. Penney.
It is just one penny.
Nah, you guys in the chat.
It is just one penny.
In my head. J.C. Penney, good store. Not many left, I don't think.
We had a Dillard's right across from Champions. There used to be a Dillard's. Is Dillard's closed forever?
There's Dillard's in Kenwood still.
Oh, there's a Dillard's in Kenwood? Yeah. Okay, never mind then. That's the discount store, right? Dillard's?
I think it's just like Macy's. I think it's just like a department
Well, Macy's
store.
is different than Dillard's, right? Unless Macy's bought them out.
I think it's like the
the Western Hills one closed.
They're like competitors, but I think it's like the same kind of store.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, that makes sense. What about the Gap? You ever go to the Gap?
I haven't been to the Gap in a long time.
I haven't been to the Gap in a long time either. This is a silly show. We're doing silly talk here today. I'm not going to talk too much about my fantasy teams, but here we go. Here's a fantasy football little discussion. I'm very concerned that my quarterback, Jared Goff's not going to come to play at all this season in fantasy.
He's inside a lot.
He's inside a lot, but he's been really bad to start.
He has.
I like the Lions. I want to like the Lions. But did we overrate the Lions last year? I think we might have overrated them.
I
think they got to the NFC Championship game, and they had really good weapons, and their running back room was phenomenal. One of the best running back rooms, if not the best running back room in all of football. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was absolutely incredible. You didn't even use Jameson Williams. Sam Laporta had a breakout year. They played in a division at least last season that wasn't very good. But once they got to the NFC Championship game, and they should have won that game. I mean, if we use kickers, we win the game. We being, I'm not a Detroit Lions fan. Yeah. But I'm starting to think I overrated them because I know they lost. I know I'm not gonna freak out about a loss to the Bucs, who the Bucs have been very, very good this season. But I'm concerned that Jared Goff might have had a career year last year, and it's back to bad Jared Goff.
Every team that makes a surprise deep playoff run has talked about regressing, except for the Lions going into this year. They were just going to pick up right where they left off, go right back to the NFC Championship, win the division for the second time, when last year they won it for the first time ever. I don't know. Me and Game Day 513 both said the Packers were going to win that division. If Jordan Love comes back this week, miraculously, somehow projected to play, if he comes back this week after just missing one when they were able to win the game, I still feel pretty good about that prediction. I think the Lions are going to have growing pains. And with a coach like Dan Campbell, he's going to lose you some games. It's just how it is. He lost them the game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I don't know necessarily how I feel about the Lions. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be a playoff team.
That's fair. Not to switch subjects, but I'm going to switch the subject here. We mentioned it, so why not bring it up here in segment 3? The Dodgers, again, they destroyed the Marlins 20-4. We were at the bar last night, and we had Mark Fetters, our guy. Shout out to Mark Fetters. He was just watching the TV, and he said he bet Shohei to get a home run. At this point, he had 48 home runs.
Right.
48 home runs and 49 stolen bases. Well, he got the stolen base early, and he goes out and he gets a home run early. So he's got 49 home runs and 50 stolen bases. He's only one home run away. He hits his second home run. The table, our guys right in front of us go nuts. And then all of a sudden he hits another. He hit 3 home runs last night. Shohei Otani went 6 for 6 with 4 runs scored, 10 runs batted in, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. He's the first player ever to reach 50-50. I'm not going to count him out reaching 60-60. I know you might say, well, Elliot, that's crazy. It is crazy until Casey told me they play the Rockies twice?
Yeah, they play them in 2 3-game series.
6 games with the Colorado Rockies, Shohei Otani has. 6 games. Rhys Hines became a Hall of Famer against the Colorado Rockies. We'll see what Shohei Otani can do. Shohei Otani had a 0.7 WAR increase just from that game. Almost an entire point of WAR he grew after that game against the Marlins yesterday. So Jacob's like, let's do some reference, Elliot. Let's see some Reds that don't have a 0.7 WAR for an entire season.
It'd be a lot quicker to just say the Reds above him.
So Ellie De La Cruz has a 5 WAR, and this is baseball reference WAR.
Yeah,
is that
B-WAR.
what? B WAR, 5 WAR. Tyler Stevenson, 2.1 B WAR, not bad. Jonathan India, 1.6 WAR. Stuart Fairchild, hurt, 1 WAR. That's it. Rhys Hines has a 0.7 WAR for the season. He hasn't had a hit since July 19th. Jake Fraley, a 0.4 WAR. Austin Wins, hurt, to be fair to him, 0.4 WAR. TJ Friedel, 0.4. Ty France, 0.2. Santiago Espinal, 0.1. Fernando Cruz, 0. Diaz, 0. Sims, 0. All these guys have 0. Well, actually, that makes sense because they weren't hitting, so excuse me on that one. Blake Dunn, negative 0.1. Sorry about that. Edwin Rios, negative 0.1. And everybody else is in the negatives. Shout out to Will Benson and Noelvi Marte for having a combined negative 2.3 WAR for the season. CES had a negative 1.0 WAR during his 24 games with the Reds this year. Shohei Otani had a 0.7 WAR just from that game. How incredible is this guy?
He's unbelievable. He joined a club that many people thought was impossible to create, and it has been through the history of baseball. He's the first ever at 50-50, already at 51-51. And he became the 7th player ever to have 17 total bases in the game.
Yeah.
The only one to not hit 4 home runs and do so, which is even more impressive, 6 for 6 at the plate. He joins the list with a guy named Scooter Gennett.
Scooter!
Gennett had a 17
Let's
base
go, Scoot.
game. Pretty cool. He's unbelievable. He's incredible. In a year he's not pitching, he just decides to have the greatest hitting season ever, and at the end sprinkles in probably the greatest game in the history of baseball from the plate.
Well, since RBI became official in 1920, only one major league player has ever had, over the course of his entire career, single game or not, a game with 10 RBIs, a game with 6 hits, a game with 5 extra base hits, a game with 3+ home runs, and a game with 2+ stolen bases. Nobody's done all of those things in the same season. Shohei Otani has done all of them in the same game. He did it all last night. Absolutely incredible. Listen, I'm not going to blame I'm not going to talk about the Shohei gambling thing, even though sometimes I want to when I see him do stuff like this. But Reed does the bit, and I know it's not a bit, but it's where you're watching the greatest player to ever play baseball, and you should probably take advantage of it. You are never going to see this again. In our entire lifetime, we will never see a player do what he just did. 10 RBIs, 6 hits, 5 extra base hits, 3 home runs, and 2 stolen bases in the same game to break a 50-50, to be the first player ever to have 50-50. Absolutely incredible. Not to mention that, they're going to get him back to pitch in the postseason.
That'd be insane.
He's going to come and pitch.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Before last night, the most total bases in an MLB game with 2 stolen bases was 11 by Kirk Gibson in 1995 and Brego Roth in 1919. Shohei, like we said, had 17. I mean, it's just insane. I scroll Twitter and I could read 15 more Shohei stats, how he's the first one ever. It was legitimately the best game in the history of baseball to cap off the best hitting season maybe in the history of baseball.
How do you think you go to bed after a night like that? You're already rich. Shohei's a handsome guy.
Well, he has to wait like a decade to get rich.
No, but he's already rich. He makes the
all the
sponsors.
New Balance
yeah,
sponsor
he's
money.
gonna okay. If he's not as super rich as he's gonna be, he's still rich now, and then he's gonna be very rich. He finishes off the first season ever to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. He pitches. He's gonna be able to pitch coming up. He just had a 6-for-6 night. When you go to bed at night, is it just all smiles?
I think so.
Like you just go to bed and you're just like, I'm the best ever.
He grabs this guy Decoy, his dog Decoy.
Yeah,
curls up on the couch, watches a movie.
I mean, there's no other words to say it. Congratulations to Shohei Otani, a unanimous MVP. I mean, if
He
there ever
should win MVP until he stops playing baseball.
That's the other thing. I was having a debate last night because LeBron arguably should have been in the MVP like 10 more times than he has, but they don't do it because they like to get other people the award. You can't hog the MVP award.
Reed always has a good point. If I told you there was a guy who was going to have an ERA below 3.5 and hit 50 home runs and steal 30 bases, he would win MVP every year.
Every single year.
And then you see one and you say, well, let's give it to Aaron Judge.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Absolutely incredible from Shohei. Good for them. I don't think the Dodgers will win the World Series this year. I'm still out on that. I know we haven't given our World Series predictions yet, our playoff baseball predictions. I still think the Phillies are a good team. I know lately the offense hasn't been great, dealing with a lot of injury stuff, but their pitching staff's elite. The Dodgers pitching staff hasn't been as elite.
And they lost Glasnow.
They lose Glasnow. Dustin May was hurt again this year. Walker Buehler was hurt for a large part of the year, as was Clayton Kershaw was hurt for a large part of the year. I don't believe in their pitching staff as much as I believe in like 4 other teams' pitching staffs. So I'm not going to pick them to win the World Series. I think Mark last night at the table was talking about the Padres. I really like the Padres. I think they've been incredible this season. Under the radar team too. And their roster's legit. Pitching staff's legit. I think the Orioles are a team that's kind of fallen off the wagon here a little bit too. Not in terms of playing good baseball. They still play good baseball. But I think people have stopped talking about them as a World Series contender. I haven't heard a lot of that lately. I think the Orioles can win the World Series, though. I think the Orioles are damn good.
They've looked pretty bad for a few months.
Yeah, they haven't been the team that they were at the beginning of the year. I was going to say, what are they right now record-wise? They're still 85-68. I mean, they're 3-7 of their last 10, though. So maybe it's a cold spell there by the Baltimore Orioles. But as we mentioned, the Guardians clinched the playoffs last night. They're 6.5 games ahead of the Royals for the division. They won the division, right? That was what that was last night?
I don't know.
Or did they not win? I don't know.
They clinched the playoffs.
They clinched the playoffs. I don't think that was the division yet, though. The Tigers are in the playoffs if the playoffs ended today, right? It's a tie. It
is tied.
They were a game worse than the Reds. They were a game worse than the Reds when they played in Cincinnati right after the Reds swept the Yankees and the Tigers swept us. They were a game below us. They are now in the postseason. They fought all the way back. Their pitching staff's been dynamite. You have one of the best Cy Young winner, right? He's going to win the Cy Young. Skuball's going to win the Cy Young. 18th win, I think he got on Wednesday. Listen, I'm happy for teams like that. I'm happy for the New York Mets. Every single person, including myself, wrote off the Mets this season.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have a lineup, didn't have a great pitching staff, lost everybody. You fight and you make the playoffs. They've been fortunate with the injury thing. I don't think they've been too banged up this year. I know Francisco Lindor has been dealing with something. But I think Pete Alonso has been mostly healthy this year. I think they lost Jeff McNeil, but the pitching staff's been okay. And they fought, and they played a hard division, and they won it. Not the division, but they're going to make the postseason. So good for the Mets. I'm happy for them, and I guess that leads us to the Cincinnati Reds. We'll say goodbye to the Cincinnati Reds coming up next on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. And welcome back in. Elliot Rearing, Jacob Tissett, Casey McAllister. Nailed it.
That was really good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Off the bench, Chatterbox Sports. Welcome on in. ESPN 1410. Later tonight, on this very radio station, you will be able to hear, I believe, the Reds game. I could be wrong on that because Kinner's not here to correct me. It's either going to be that or high school football. I don't know what it was going to be. But I'm going to say it's going to be the Reds.
You're looking at me like I'm going to have the answer for you.
I know. But I feel like if you confirmed it with me, then we'd both look bad together, and that's what I'd want.
I'm not going to do that.
When the ship goes down, we all go down, gentlemen.
This is a
Casey,
solo kayak.
Casey, will you join my kayak?
No.
You won't get in my kayak. So you're going to hear something later tonight on this very great radio station, so please tune in and listen to it. I don't know what it'll be. I'm not confident enough. We have a new member.
I was going to do that, but I have not even the slightest idea how to pronounce it.
Casey?
And I feel like it's going to get me in trouble on radio.
Casey, as lead producer, can you please welcome that member?
Welcome
to the
our
chat?
new member.
I'm just gonna spell it FYKTJ.
I feel like spelling it might be bad, too.
REBEB. I mean, I don't know if that's some
If that person would like to
acronym,
change their name to something that's a little bit more coherent.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Happy to have you. A lot of great content coming up. If you would like to join Box Lunch, I think there'll be one today.
There will not be one today.
There will not be one today.
Because
No Box Lunch today.
We will not be doing Box Lunch today. We did an extra one on Tuesday
Oh,
because
that's right.
we can't do one today. You have to go set up a bunch of high school
That's
stuff.
correct.
So,
I apologize.
yes, I would really like that guy to speak. I don't know who you are, sir, or ma'am, or madam,
Thank you,
or whoever
Game
you
Day.
are.
Game Day helped us. He said it's pronounced.
Thank you, Game Day. That makes a lot more sense now. But they're Cincinnati Reds. We were watching the game at the bar
That's
yesterday at Eli's Sports Bar. I can't go into how disappointing this season's been. You guys have known I've talked about that far too much. They're 74-80 right now. They're going to finish probably fourth in the division unless the Pirates come to town and sweep us, which they might. The Pirates have their way with the Reds, as do most teams. But I don't know. I'm going to look back at this season, and I'm going to call it a lost season. I don't think the Cincinnati Reds being we, it's unprofessional to say we, but I don't think the Reds really ever had a chance just from the jump. I think you lost so much right off the bat that it was too much to overcome. And there was no plan by Nick Krall. It's hard to predict when you lose 4 core members of the team right off the rip. But this is the time where we learn our lesson and we go into next season thinking, okay, what do we have? We have a generational talent in Elly De La Cruz. We have a bona fide all-star ace in Hunter Green. That's what we've got. We go around the lineup. We've got a damn good catcher in Tyler Stevenson. I did my apologies last week. I didn't think Tyler Stevenson was going to be this guy this season. You go around from there. You have a great center fielder in TJ Friedl. He hits for power. He's fast. He can drop down a bunt better than anybody in the league. I think he had more bunt base hits last season than anybody. Doesn't ground into double plays. Great player. You have a guy in left field, and I say left field loosely because he can play anywhere in Spencer Steer. He's a utility role player. He's a rich man's Paul Janish. Paul Janish was just infield, but that's what I feel like when I watch Spencer Steer. And he's going to give you 158 games a season. Same deal with Elly De La Cruz. Going to play hard, steal a lot of bases, hopefully hit more home runs. I'll ask Jacob about that in a second.
We have more big news in the chat.
More big news in the chat?
Sir Boy Wonder's a member.
Sir Boy Wonder's a member now, too? Oh, my goodness.
This is a monumental day.
Sir Boy mentioned that he might be... Sir Boy... So Sir Boy last night was like, you know what? Should I be a member just for this next month? I'm like, yes. Do it. So Sir Boy's back. Good to see Sir Boy.
We love that.
Hopefully Sir Boy comes to a couple more of those live shows. I'd really like that.
It was good to see him.
It was good to see Sir Boy and Rico and
Sorry to interrupt,
and
but
Michael.
I felt like that was big news.
No, that was big news. So I'm just ranting. So that's it. You're just going to hear me rant about the Reds, and that's what I do. So I'm very sorry about that.
It's tough that we've been ranting about the Reds for months now.
I don't want to rant about the Reds,
but I wish there was more.
In Cincinnati, you have to
exciting
rant
things
about
say.
the Reds. You have to talk about them. I wish there were more things to say. It's a lot of regurgitated points. But we're coming into next season where I have to have hope. I have to have optimism.
Our job together is going to be to find hope this offseason.
I don't know if I'm
going
going
to get excited for opening day.
And here's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the hope yet. I don't know, because I don't know what we have. Jeimer Candelario. Do you believe in Jeimer Candelario? I certainly don't. I think he's a fine player, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I trust Jeimer Candelario to be a serious contributor on next season's team. And I figure this is going to happen, but they might look at the roster right now and they say, you know what? We can still, if we're healthy, that's enough. But it's not. You're not close. This isn't a playoff roster. Half the team doesn't have a positive WAR, more than half the team. We need to get better. and that's going to be Nick Krall's job in the offseason. David Bell, I'd be shocked if he was here next year. I just think at some point, Craig said it yesterday, I've been starting to say it, you just need to change. You have to change it. Craig also mentioned a good stat. The Reds have 6 winning seasons at Great American Ballpark. 6 since the opening of the stadium. David Bell does have 3 of those. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about next year. It's going to feel almost like a new start. It felt like the start of something new. Shout out to High School Musical. Last season, you felt a spark, an energy, a vibe that we had never seen, maybe ever. The 2012 team, the 2010 team, the 2013 team, those were great teams. But I still, maybe because I was too young, I didn't feel the energy, the spark that I felt when Ellie De La Cruz came up. So we'll see what happens next season. We're going to see if Jonathan India is still around. We're going to see if Will Benson and Jake Fraley are going to be on the roster. I don't know. You need a lot of pieces, and there's a lot of work to be done if you're going to consider yourself to be a competitive baseball club next year. The NL Central is just getting better. The Pirates, as I predicted, were terrible this year, but they do have a pitching staff that's pretty damn good. You have a St. Louis Cardinals team that I'm never going to write out, a Chicago Cubs team that has an infinite payroll, and you have the Milwaukee Brewers, who somehow, by the grace of God, they just don't lose.
Ever.
They don't lose. So I'm going to try to have hope. I'm going to try to have optimism. The season, the 2024 season, is over. It was miserable from the jump. Shout out to the CES walk-off home run against the Nationals on Easter. That was the only good positive moment I had. And we'll go on to next year. And I'm hoping I can be a more positive Reds fan next year, but I doubt it. Knowing myself, I doubt we're going to see that. Good for the Reds. Hopefully they finish the season right around 500. I'm going to predict 78 wins. But, yeah, disappointing. Disappointing doesn't say it enough. So that's it. I don't plan on talking about the Reds too much going forward. It's going to be a Bengals show for the rest of this season, for the rest of this year. And we'll let Nick Kirby handle all the good takes. Because I'm out of them. I'm out of takes on the Reds. I'm out of hope. I'm out of optimism. I'm done. I'm done with it. Casey, as a newly appointed Reds fan, how big of a step back should we take this year?
It was a massive step back. Honestly.
So are we back? How close are there was Casey that wasn't a Reds or baseball fan. Then last year there was Casey the Reds fan with the Viking helmet. This year, how close are you back to Casey not a baseball or Reds fan?
I mean, unbelievably close. I was done. I think I was done in to be honest, let's see, May, June, July. Probably midway through August, I was done following the team. It's pretty sad. But there was just no hope. It just felt like it was pointless to keep continuing rooting for this team when you knew that they were going to just continue to struggle. There was no help incoming. And it was just, it was sad, Mouse. That was sad.
That was the concerning part, too, where there was, last season you had the cavalry that was coming. You saw the roster. It was terrible at the beginning of the year, but you had Ellie De La Cruz. You had CES, Will Benson, Noelvi Marte, Spencer. You had everybody just waiting to come on up. You're waiting to bring everybody up. And this year you saw when you got nobody waiting to come back up and the roster's not good, it's a disaster. And we're going to talk about this team like it was one of the worst seasons ever. It's a bad season. They're going to win, again, roughly 78 games. Not a good season, but we've certainly had worse here in Cincinnati where it's been just an unwatchable product. They were watchable. They were watchable. I could watch games this season because you had Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green and a couple other guys. But, boy, I missed the energy, man. I think they had one walk-off hit all year. Is that right? Or 2 walk-off hits. TJ Friedel and CES at the beginning. Last season, it felt like I think they led the league in walk-offs. I don't know if that stat's accurate, but I'm almost certain they did. Or at least top 5 in walk-offs. There was excitement. The offense was never out of it. And this year, that magic was just lost. So we'll see next season if the Reds are going to be able to do it. I'm going to put my money on no, but it's just a track record. When you make the postseason 13 times and since 1940, what is that? 80-something years. 13 times in 80-something years. Not great. So, but that's it. That's it for the Reds. It's over. The flag has been planted. It's been a hell of a season. We're done talking about them.
Dead.
Starting next week, there will be no more Reds talk in here. We'll probably do maybe one more final Reds official ending of the season talk. But it's it. That's it. No more from this show. You'll have to get all your Red stuff from Chatterbox Reds, from Kirby, Trace, Craig, everybody else involved in the show. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening to my rant. Sorry I ranted. But Jacob, if you would degrade this Reds season, not on a traditional A to F scale, if you had the most excitement, say you're counting on last season was what, a 75 out of 100, I'll call it. Didn't make the playoffs, but you were excited.
I think last season was pretty high.
This season, I'm almost down to like a 5.
I'm going to give him an E.
You're going to give him an E?
Yeah, effort.
For effort?
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't think the Reds qualify to be on a grading scale because the roster was so distant from what we expected or what we wanted. So I'm going to give him an E. Those guys tried. Santiago Espinal got a positive WAR. He tried.
He tried.
Luke Maley's knocking on the door of 160 batting average. He tried.
He tried.
The bullpen pitched 20 full games at the end of the year. They really tried.
Yep.
Alexis Diaz walked a guy every time he came out to be a closer, but he tried to close it down.
He tried.
Yeah.
They tried.
Noelvi stinks at literally everything. But
I don't know if he tried.
He took steroids enough to try to be
That's
good.
right. That's fair. That's
And
actually
then they
fair.
took the steroids away from him.
Mark
what
always
he wanted to do.
Mark always says if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's
so,
right. No, these guys tried, and that's my main takeaway. E for effort.
By the way, our guy just said Kinner put sprinkles on his mashed potatoes. Hey, that's a funny visual.
Yeah, it's a tough year. Alex Wallace says it right. Noelvi's heating up.
Noelvi's heating up.
I think we could get below -1 full game.
Yeah, I think you can.
That's what I want.
I think you can.
That'll assure him the E. Otherwise, he's going to get an F.
But that's it for the Reds. We're gonna go into some picks. I got some high school picks to give out. We've got some. We're gonna talk about some college football. We're gonna talk about some NFL picks. It's just gonna be a pick show for the next 2 segments. Over under games picked.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be over 16.5 because
that's the whole NFL slate plus one.
That's correct.
All righty.
That's right. We have 2 segments left here on Off the Bench Chatterbox Sports. It's a silly Friday. Thank you for being with us. We're going to step away for our ad breaks for YouTube, and then we are going to be back with you guys on the radio here in a second. So, we'll see you guys in a bit.
Heaven is a place on earth.
Say in heaven, love comes first. Heaven is a place on earth. I'll give you a nickel. Whoever can tell me who sang that song.
ABBA.
I'll give the chat. I'll give the chat. I'll give the chat a second.
Yeah,
I'll give the chat a second. I'll give the chat a second. Brandy Carlisle.
Wow.
Brandy Carlisle.
Wow.
Wow. Very nice.
Casey, will you go out and seek that song going forward?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Rick Carlisle, head coach of the Indiana Pacers.
Good connection there. Same last name.
That's right.
Really cool. Really cool. Pawnee water. See that bottle right there?
Can you flip it up in the air?
Like, do like the bottle flip thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
That works.
Yeah, do a little.
I just realized there was no space on his desk.
Not
to do
one.
it.
Yeah, I
good
couldn't do the whole. Yeah. Made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. Uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other brands use. The result being a healthy alkaline water, and some say
The best tasting water in the world.
Certainly the smoothest. Doesn't have any rocks in it.
No,
the
when
only
I
ingredient.
was drinking a rock last night when I got it home. I was going to the refrigerator. My refrigerator has one of those water filters, and it filtered like 9 rocks.
That's terrible. If you look at the ingredients on this bottle, the only thing in here is water. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. The pH level is an 8. I mean, it's phenomenal. Love Pawnee Water. Go check them out at PAHHNIwater.com. See where you can buy this great tasting water.
I went to the dentist last week, and they put some crowns on my teeth, and they told me, make sure you only drink Pawnee, because you can't chomp down on the rocks.
Can't chop down on the rocks.
After you get your teeth done. And
Yeah.
Pawnee, obviously, we know, Best water in the world, no rocks.
How come we can't buy those dentist things that sprays the water? You know, when they spray
The water pick?
the super water pick. You buy that?
I think you can.
Oh, you can buy that?
I think so.
Oh, I want one of those.
I think that's the next purchase the office needs.
I
And fill
think
it
we
with
need
fountain water.
I think we need a water pick.
I have one.
What?
A cheaper one. It's like $100 water pick. It's not like those dentist picks, but
Does it work? Does it work?
yeah, it gets the job done.
What do you use it for? Like, do you just like a little teeth?
Floss, right?
Yeah, it's the floss.
Yeah, it's a
Okay. All right.
I actually need.
I don't
to,
floss.
Need to like get the filter changed on it.
I think flossing's a scam. Am I allowed to say that?
It's not a scam.
There's food in your teeth.
Yeah.
But I brush the teeth.
But that doesn't get in between them.
But I think
I don't know if I'm going to co-sign
Well,
flossing
you know
as a
what?
scam.
How much
You
do
know
you
what?
floss?
Let's just let the chat handle it.
Minimal amount.
When's the last time you guys just flossed?
I probably
Like,
floss for like 10, 15 minutes straight right before I go to the dentist twice a year.
Okay.
I mean, like I don't floss as much as I should, but you should floss every day.
Recycling's absolutely a scam, sir boy.
Recycling is a scam. That's a fact. But it's also not a fact, so please don't take me up on that.
The Bengals Report is proudly sponsored by Encore
A lot of Bengals
Technologies.
talk today.
At Encore Technologies, we deliver cutting-edge IT solutions for a data-driven world. From mobile computing and desktop support to advanced data center solutions, we help businesses enhance efficiency and...
P
Productivity.
O D U C T I V I T Y.
That's right,
Productivity.
Jimbos. That's right, Jimbos. Visit Encore.tech, where your path to innovation begins here. Game Time, the ticketing service app that we all know and love here on Off the Bench. We've been using it all summer long to go to Reds games. Unfortunately, we probably won't be using that app to go to Reds games. We'll be going to Bengals games instead.
Yes.
Did you say unfortunately?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Because I think incredibly fortunately.
Fortunately, yeah, you're probably right. It's a better product anyways. Yeah, so go check them out. Download the app. Use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it, fellas?
Game time.
Game time.
What time is it, fellas?
Game time.
What time is it, fellas?
Game time.
That's right. Again, download the app. Use code OTB. Terms apply. $20 off your first purchase. It's great. Great app. It's got great features. You can see exactly where you're sitting at.
I think I'm going to use Game Time this weekend. Saturday, Ohio State game. Sunday, Colts, Bears, or Reds game. I think I'm going to go to one of those three, and it will be using Game Time.
My vote for you is the Bears-Colts game.
I might have to. I might have to.
By the way, Adam wants a free ad for his real estate business. What's the ad? I'll give you an ad read. I don't care. Give me an ad read.
It's a bad precedent to set.
You can't just say that and not give me an ad read. I know you as Chi-Town Real Estate, and then I also know you as Adam House. So if you're in the Cincinnati area and somehow go to Chicago,
Well, if you're in the Cincinnati
area and you want to move to the area of Chicago, Adam House is the guy. So you look up Adam House. He is on TikTok. I see his TikToks everywhere. I see his Facebooks everywhere. He's everywhere. Adam House.
All right.
Yeah. And shout out to...
No free ads.
You know what? Let's give out some more free ads. Shout out to Sir Boy. Shout out to Mark. Follow those guys on Twitter. Those guys are electric on there. They came out to our show yesterday.
That's right.
Thank you guys for that. Shout out to Everett. He's also a good follow on Twitter.
Shout out to UDF.
United Dairy Farmers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Champions. Shout out to Eli's. Shout out to all of our
Municipal
sponsors.
Brew Works.
Municipal Brew Works. Shout out to Trace and Sean and Reed.
The video board.
Kinner.
Kinner.
The video board.
Tom.
Luke.
Elliot.
Elliot for sure.
Casey. Jacob.
Oh, thank you.
Headlines. Anybody
Nate
else?
Seltzer.
Nate Seltzer. Colton Melman.
Game Day.
Blackmore.
Oh, we have a first chat from FYKTJRBEB. Elliot doesn't like to floss. That's lame.
Can you tell us how to pronounce your name so I can shake your hand?
Please tell me how to pronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce it, ma'am or sir. I don't know who you are. Whoever you want to be, it's okay. I support everybody. I just need to know your name. Also, has anybody ever said that not flossing is lame? I feel like flossing is lame.
Yeah, he just did.
Well, he just did, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, radio time.
That's it. Time to go back to radio. We're going to pick everything. It is Oktoberfest this weekend. You guys going to Oktoberfest?
I did not know that.
So there's a party on Saturday for Oktoberfest. My friend was going to have. I can't go now because I have work, but that's all right. I don't really care that much. I didn't really want to go. I don't drink, so it's not like, what am I going to do at Oktoberfest? How many pretzels can I eat? And shout out to Champions. They have the best pretzel in the world. Everett will see that eventually. But yeah, Oktoberfest. Good for Cincinnati. Cincinnati, as they call it.
That's right.
I did take German.
Cool.
In high school, so we did celebrate Oktoberfest whenever it was time when I was at Elder. Shout out to Frau Kraling. She was my teacher, but yeah, that's it. Are you just going to stand up for the rest of the show?
Yeah, I think so.
So now let me ask you this, because I'm going to keep going over to you now.
I think so.
You're going to have to keep like squatting down to that mic. So now your lower back's going to have hurt.
Like this?
Pain. Yeah.
Like this? I can't sit in that chair anymore. I've been sitting all week, so.
All right, here are your best high school games of the week. The 5 best high school games that I could find. We're going to start with this, then we're going to move to the NFL slate, and then we're going to go to the college slate if we have time. But the NFL slate, or this, messed that up, high school slate, starting on Friday, that's tonight. We have Louisville St. Xavier at Elder. Wow. I'm going to take the Elder Panthers.
Stick with my guys.
That's not your guys. It's a different
It's
school.
all the same.
It's a different school.
Yeah, but we whoop them.
Do you really?
Oh, every year.
Oh, so then we're going to take Elder Panthers.
Well,
That's an easy bet.
I'm taking St. Xavier. Desmond Ritter's high school.
Nonsense. Casey?
That's your guy.
You ride with the Panthers? That's Casey's guy. Actually, I shouldn't have told him that because now he's going to go to St. X.
Yeah, I'm going St. X. Sorry.
Bad pick. Oak Hills at Hamilton. Oak Hills at Hamilton.
Big Blue.
Yep, give me Big Blue. Hamilton.
I'm going to go Oak Hills here. I like Oak Hills because they're kind of by my house. So that's the only rationale there.
Big Blue.
Big Blue has been a good football team a couple years now.
Sure. First time they ever made the playoffs, right, last year?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so good team for a long time. Kings at Anderson. Don't know anything about either, so we're going to take Anderson.
I'm taking Kings. I will not pick Anderson.
Okay.
I will take Anderson.
Okay. And we have 2 more. So let's go. I think I told Blackmore we have 2 Kentucky ones. We'll go to Kentucky. Boone County at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. So that's just the guy's name. Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Give me PLD.
You go PLD? Boone County or Paul Lawrence Dunbar?
Well, is it the entire county of Boone County with all those
Yeah,
schools?
it's the best.
So
The best of the best.
I'll take Boone County.
I'm going to go Boone County too, Casey. I like that a lot. Next up, we have Ryle at Christian Academy Louisville, 7:30 primetime slate.
Ryle.
What's the other team?
Christian Academy Louisville.
Ryle.
I'm going to go with the Ryle Raiders as well. Are they the Raiders? I can only assume they did alliteration is why Everett said that. I could be wrong on that though. Let's go to the state of Indiana. East Central at Batesville, 7:30 primetime.
I hate East Central, but they look good against Hamilton the other week.
I'll go
pick
East
them.
Central.
I'll go East Central.
And finally, Greensburg at South Dearborn. What's your favorite part about Greensburg's team this year?
It's very green.
That's right.
Greensburg.
That's right. I'm going to go Greensburg too.
Sure.
And those are your best high school games of the week, presented by me, because I just read them out loud. So, I didn't read that one on purpose, Mouse Cop. I ignored that game. So we'll take Moeller. Moeller over St. X, I think, is the fair. Who would you got in that one? Moeller versus St. X High School.
Moeller.
I'm going to take Moeller too. That's a good bet. Who are you going to pick?
I have to pick St. X, but Moeller's QB is ridiculously good, so I would assume that they're going to win the game.
Chase said I picked the worst teams in Indiana. That's the bit, Chase. That's the entire bit. If I don't know the school, I'm going to say it. But we love all schools.
That we do.
So that's it. Those are all your high school picks. Now we get to the real thing, respectfully, of course. The NFL slate. So the NFL slate right now, let me get it out. We will start with the Giants and the Browns.
Browns are 6.5-point favorites at home against the Giants. I don't necessarily think that Deshaun Watson should be in a 6.5-point favorite over anybody, but the Giants are very, very bad. I'm gonna take the Browns. I'm gonna take the Giants plus 6.5. I'm gonna take the Giants plus 6.5. I think the Browns are stinky. Deshaun Watson stinks. Their center's the worst center in football, and Dexter Lawrence is the best interior D lineman. I'm gonna take the Giants plus 6.5 and just pray that it gets to 7.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Browns minus 6.5 because I think the Giants are truly terrible.
6.5, huh? I'll go with the Giants.
Let's go.
Gonna be a close game. So.
All right, close game there. Moving on to the Packers versus the Titans. That's a game that nobody wants to watch.
Malik Willis revenge game.
I guess. Tennessee somehow 3-point favorites in that one.
What?
Well, yeah, you don't know if it's Malik Willis.
You don't
or
know which
Jordan
quarterback's
Love.
playing.
Okay.
If it's Jordan Love, then you have the best bet of all time with Packers plus 3.
I'm going to take the Packers plus 3 anyway. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going Tennessee minus 3 because I hate the Titans, and that's why I'm going to pick them.
I'm going Packers plus 3. I think they cover that even if Willis does start. He played a decent game last weekend as the starter, and I think he'll want to beat the Titans. So I think they'll win that game. Will Levis will turn the ball over in the red zone some inexplicable way to ice it late.
That's true. That will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the exact same reasons that Jacob just kind of eloquently said already, I think Will Levis is a terrible quarterback. I think Brian Callahan knows it. So I'm going to go with the Packers here.
If you get Packers plus 3 and Jordan Love runs out of that tunnel, you
feel great.
You are sitting on top of the world.
Yeah. Next game up, Eagles versus Saints. 2.5-point favorites are the New Orleans Saints at home. That's a weird spread, man. Jacob was talking about it yesterday. I don't know if he's talking me into it. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm going to take the Saints minus 2.5 because I don't think they should be favored in the game. So I think it doesn't make sense at all, and I've learned to fade myself. So I'm going the New Orleans Saints minus 2.5. I think it stinks. I think it smells. But if the Saints win this game, if they win this game like 49-20, if they score 40 plus points again, we have to call them legit.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles.
That's fair.
Saints are frauds. It's a fluke.
It's about who's the bigger fraud, though.
That's true.
It's a fraud off.
But I think they're both frauds, and the Eagles have more talent.
It depends on if A.J. Brown's playing.
That is true, and I don't think he is.
And I don't think he's playing, so...
Did Tom and Luke pick this game yesterday?
Yes.
Who did Tom pick?
I think Tom picked the Eagles.
Okay, I love my pick. Love my pick. Saints minus 2.5 is
Tom
free.
does well in the NFL.
Does he?
Yeah.
He didn't do well last year.
Luke's the one that does bad.
Are we sure? What's Tom's record?
Me and Tom are tied at 8-8 because Jacob went 3-6.
Nice.
Oh, damn right, I went 3-6.
I stand by it.
Luke's what, Ofer?
Luke
Is he still over?
Luke is 6-10, I believe.
Ooh, who did Luke take?
He took the Saints.
6-10 after.
I'm gonna take the Eagles. I'm gonna take the Eagles.
He went 0 for last week.
6-10 after a 0-7 start is not bad.
Yeah, I guess. If Luke's taking the Saints, I'm on the Eagles now.
All right, Eagles it is.
Chargers versus Steelers. That game nobody will score in that game. That'll be a 3-0 game.
No, the over under that game is hilarious. I believe it's 34.5.
It is
35.5.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is a 1.5-point favorite. 2-0 juggernauts going at it. Both of them are frauds. I think the Steelers win this game. Because I don't think they should. Every pick I'm going with the opposite of what my brain's telling me. Steelers win this game 3-0.
I've been going with my brain so far, and I love the Chargers underdogs so much.
Yeah.
That I am gonna nuclear missile whale play the Steelers.
I think I will as well.
I think
I will as well.
This is by far the most confusing line on the book, in my opinion. I don't understand it at all. The Chargers are better at every position, and I think they have a better head coach. But the Steelers are favored at home. And I know you get points at home in the NFL, but geez, I feel like the Chargers should be on top. So
yep.
I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah,
Casey?
I'm also taking the Steelers, which can be a little problematic because we have a sweep here.
Yeah.
So
we've swept a lot of these games so far.
Yeah,
Have we?
haven't
Which ones
That's
have?
That's
Which?
probably not
We
a good
swept
thing.
Eagles after you switched.
Okay. Well,
I was Saints.
Oh, you were? I thought you said Eagles.
Broncos, Buccaneers. I think the Broncos are truly terrible. I'm going to take the Buccaneers -6.5 here.
Yeah, love it. Baker's incredible. I think they're changing my pick. I think they're probably going to win that division. I love that offense. Chris Godwin's been great. Mike Evans, he'll be fine.
Yep.
Rashad White needs to get less carries. I think if they use Bucky Irving a little bit more, the offense will be better. But
Less carries, more touches. I think he's.
Yes.
I think he's good out of the.
yes, I don't disagree with that. I think Tampa Bay's a good team, 6.5. Yeah, Denver's terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I like the Bucs here.
When will the first quarterback change in Denver be? Because I think there's going to be 3 this year.
No, I don't think they'll change quarterbacks.
Really?
Let me take it back. Sean Payton won't change quarterbacks.
Okay, all
If Sean
right.
Payton gets fired, they'll change quarterbacks.
I was going to say, because it's not good. Panthers, Raiders. Terrible game. One of the worst of all time. The Raiders are 5.5-point favorites.
This is my favorite bet of the weekend.
Were you taking Raiders?
No.
Panthers?
Yes.
Plus 5.5? I might ride with you on it. And the only reason is because if it was Bryce Young, I'd hammer the Raiders.
Well, it was a bigger spread when it was Bryce Young.
What was it?
6.5.
Was it?
Yeah, it moved a point and the total went up 1.
I'll take Andy Dalton. I'll take Andy Dalton. I will think that over hits. 39.5 is the total right now. Gardner Minshew and Dalton are about to put on a performance of a lifetime.
I think I'm with you there. I'm going to take Andy Dalton to win a lot of games and just hopefully not the one against the Bengals.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a pretty decent quarterback in there. They're going to take care of business against the Raiders, at least cover the 5.5.
I'm going to be taking the Raiders.
Thank
Andy
you.
Dalton folding under pressure. They've got a pretty good defensive line.
do.
It's pretty simple as that.
Dolphins, Seahawks. Dolphins don't have a quarterback. They're taking on the Seahawks, only -4.5. I don't know. That seems like a trap line, which makes me want to say Dolphins plus 4.5 because I don't believe in the Dolphins at all, and I think that spread should be more. It's hard to win games without a quarterback. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins plus 4.5, and I hate it.
They asked Skylar Thompson after practice what is going to have to change with the offense because he's playing quarterback now instead of Tua, and he said nothing. So he can run the whole offense.
Oh.
Games wants to call. So
Looked great against Buffalo in that playoff
glad
game.
Glad for that. Yeah, no, that was really good. Yeah, I'm gonna take Seattle. At some point, if spreads don't make sense, that's great. But 4.5-point spread against a team with no quarterback, I'm gonna take Seattle.
It's fair.
Man, that's crazy. You're going to start the Seattle Seahawks 3-0 with Geno Smith at quarterback?
Damn right.
Whew. Yeah, I'm also going to do the same thing. I think the Seattle Seahawks get it done versus Miami. It's just hard to win when you don't have your starting quarterback. It's simple as that. So
I will be betting on the Seahawks with my actual money.
Yeah.
Ravens, Cowboys, 47.5-point total. Baltimore is a 1-point favorite on the road as an 0-2 team. I love the Dallas Cowboys here. Love them. I love them too much.
They are going to whoop the Ravens.
I agree.
Whoop them. 0-3 Ravens.
0-3 Ravens would be tough.
Hold on. While we're on this game, let me give you this. 0-5 Ravens
Read them.
possible.
Read the schedule.
at Cowboys versus Bills at Bengals.
Oh, boy.
could you
Oh,
imagine?
boy.
0-5 Ravens is not a stretch. And then you go Commanders, Bucks, Browns. That's not a walk in the park.
No.
And then after the Broncos, you go Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, Eagles.
Oh, boy.
Ravens are
This
in a tough
schedule is a gauntlet. They could not lose that game.
You made the take yesterday. If the Bengals start 0-3, like the chances to make the playoffs are almost
Almost zero.
almost zero. What about the Ravens? Still same thought. 0-3.
Yeah, I think I know that 1-3 you're fine, but 1-3 winning week 3 and 1-3 winning week 4 is so drastically different for some reason.
Yep.
If you start 0-3, I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I
I
really
agree.
don't see it.
Casey?
I'm with you guys. Ravens have the possibility of going 0-5. I like Dallas here. I think they got embarrassed at Jerry World. I don't think they get embarrassed again. It's at least going to be close. So I'll take the extra point that they're giving me here.
I want the Cowboys to win this game so bad.
Me too.
And maybe that's why I should bet on the Ravens. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to take a break real quick. Head into our final segment of the day. This is just going to be a radio show today because it's a silly little show we're doing here. We're going to finish up the NFL slate, and maybe we'll give a couple college locks
I got a
as
couple
well.
good college ones like that if we want.
So we will go into that coming up next. Off the bench, Chatterbox Sports, ESPN 1410, Wing AM, the best radio station in all of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome on in. I am Elliot Rearing. That is Casey McAllister. That is Jacob Tissett. We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio. Welcome on in. This is a silly little show we're doing, as I've mentioned 25 times, and I'll continue to mention. You know what? They're asking in the chat, will we do a chat power rankings today? Yeah. After the radio side, we'll end it with chat power rankings. I think you know what we should do for the first time ever? We each give 2 picks.
Hold on. How about this?
Yeah.
Blind ranking. We have 10 spots. Casey gives us 10 chat guys, and we rank them without knowing who's coming next.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's what we'll do. Okay, so we'll do that immediately following the radio side.
Casey's picking the top 10 chatters. We're just blind ranking them. So don't get mad at Ellie and I if you're left off the top 10. That's get mad at Casey.
That is all on Casey. Okay, so moving on with this NFL slate, we have the line.
Ooh, Alex Wallace, good point.
What did he say?
You did a Fox Sports intro. We are ESPN Radio.
Yeah, you might want to back that one up.
Well, that was a TV thing, though. That wasn't a radio thing.
But there's definitely a radio for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably.
We are
ESPN 1410
Wing AM.
That
We are not
rhymes.
affiliated with Fox Sports whatsoever. Fox Sports stinks. Unless they're also a partner. I don't know how it works. Kinner's not here. This is Kinner's fault, not my fault. We are ESPN 1410. I was just doing the thing from the Reds games that you used to see like 15 years ago. That's all I was doing. I wasn't even trying to insult anybody. 49ers versus the Rams. This game would have been cool if it was week 1.
This is the worst game ever.
We have the 49ers being 6.5-point favorites against the Rams. The Rams don't have players, but here's the catch. Neither do the 49ers.
That's right.
Total's 43.5. I'm going to take the Rams plus 6.5 at home just because I think both these teams stink right now.
Yeah, it's an absolutely terrible game, terrible matchup, and I'm going to take the points as well. I think it's just too many. I mean, the Niners are looking like they're going to be without McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, and the Rams are without Puka, Cooper Kupp, and their whole O-line.
That's insane.
So the game between 2 NFC contenders has turned into a game between 2 bottom feeders because we're talking about practice squads now. It's insane that we're talking about this game as one of the worst games on the slate when between these 2 teams. It's usually supposed to be one of the best. I'm going to take the points because I think these 2 offenses are going to look inept.
Yeah, I listen. I agree. I think this will be a disgusting game. This will be a game where each quarterback will not throw the ball. I'm predicting 15 total passes by Stafford, 15 total passes by Brock Purdy.
Kyron Williams, fun stat, a guy a lot of people were excited about coming into this year, a mid-round pick last year. He leads the league by a wide margin. Carries through 2 weeks without a 10-yard run. He's had 30 carries through 2 weeks, no 10 or more yard runs.
Oh, no. Casey?
Yeah, just looking at the injury list for all these teams here. I'm going to go with the 49. No, can't do it. Going with the Rams. Just too big of a spread. I'd tease it to 7, though, to be honest with you. Just give yourself that extra point.
Okay.
But going with Rams here.
All right. And finally, we have we have Lions-Cardinals. Detroit -3 on the road against the Cardinals. Total is 51.5. Love the over.
I'm putting it on the line here. I'm going all in on my take.
You're going to go all into the
They're
Cardinals.
They're going to do it. I'm going to take the Cardinals, and I'm not even taking the points. I'm going to take the money line. Cardinals are going to win the game at home. And people are going to start actually talking about them as an NFC contender. That division is so bad with the Rams and Niners banged up. They can win that division.
I want to do it, but here's the thing. I fear that if the Lions can't start winning these games against good teams, I'm just not going to believe in them at all. So I'm going to take the Lions -3 because I want to take the Cardinals +3. I'm going to take the Lions -3 because eventually they have to, right? Unless they're terrible.
I love a lot of these spreads when I'm thinking teasers, though.
Yeah, it's true. That's 1,000,000%.
Game Day just said in the chat, board looks great for teasers. I couldn't agree more. A lot of these spreads are beautiful for that.
I'm also going to take the Lions with all the injuries they have at the offensive tackle position and how dominant Hutchinson has been so far this year. I just feel like Kyler Murray, as good as he is, extending the plays, running around, I just feel like he can't do it all season long. And I know it's the beginning of the year, but Aiden Hutchinson's going to dominate. So I just have a feeling that he's going to get sacked one too many times. So going with the Lions here, -3.
The one thing about Hutchinson is he does lead the league in sacks with 5.5. That's incredible. He's been great. He had a 5-sack game last week.
Yeah.
So, like, I definitely something I'm worried about as well, but hopefully they can keep him to 1 or 2, and I think they're fine.
Final game of the week, Chiefs-Falcons. Chiefs are 2-0 on the road at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Chiefs -3, total 46.5. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Am I allowed to?
No.
Okay, I'll take the Chiefs.
Thank you. Casey?
Because it's -3, I'm going with Chiefs.
If it was 3.5, maybe you could talk me into the Falcons, but I don't think the Falcons are good.
I want to take the Falcons though.
The Falcons have had one good drive,
But what if they do that again?
What if they do it all the time?
Right.
What if that's their offense?
What if that is their offense?
But it's not, and I've seen it, so I'm out. I'm out on Kirk Cousins. I'm out on the Falcons. These guys tried to get me in on their weird little obsession, and I'm out on it. They
like that defense.
They can talk about the Falcons all they want. I'm out. I'm out.
Did you see that
all
defense
the way.
break up that pass to Saquon Barkley on 4th down?
Well, that wasn't. They didn't really do anything there. I think he dropped that pass.
That's what he said. She said. Agree to disagree.
Well, I think we just disagree. Jesse Bates did catch an interception that there wasn't really an Eagles receiver in the area. So
Jalen Hurts bad.
Jalen Hurts might be bad. I like Jalen Hurts for the record. Casey?
2 Monday night games. Fun.
2 Monday night games, that is right. But we will not talk about that today because we get to talk about that on Monday.
Of course.
7:30 game. That game will stink. That game will be really, really bad. Bills versus Jaguars. Really bad game there. But that's it for the NFL slate. We have a college slate that we can talk about right now as well.
It's a scrumptious college slate.
We do have a scrumptious college slate. So I'm going to read some of these off, and we're going to have Jacob give me a pick. I'm just going to do top 25 first, then we'll get to the weird ones.
I do have 2 bets I love tonight.
Okay, that's right. So Illinois, Nebraska play tonight. 22 ranked Nebraska is 3-0 at home against 24th ranked Illinois. The Fighting Illini, they're 3-0 as well. 7.5 point favorite. That's a big hook there. 7.5 point favorites at home in Nebraska. Who you like?
Opened about 6.5, and I do have Nebraska at 6.5, which I adore.
Yep.
I like 7.5 considerably less, but I still really like it. I think Nebraska's good. Luke Altmaier's a good quarterback for Illinois. They beat Kansas, but I think Kansas is overrated, and that's why they're ranked 24th. I think Nebraska is a really, really good team, and I think they're going to be 7-0 when they go to Ohio State to play Ohio State in a few weeks. So
okay. That's
going to be a big-time game. I think Dylan Raiola is legit, even though he's a creepy weirdo for cosplaying Patrick Mahomes.
That's weird. That's very strange.
And then acting like you're not doing it on purpose.
It's
bizarre.
Very strange.
But he's a damn good quarterback, and I'm going to take Nebraska -7.5.
Do you think
I really do believe in it too.
Do you think he'll be good enough to get drafted?
Yeah, first overall. It's going to be him or
really.
Arch, yeah.
So do you think the Chiefs should get him?
That'd be crazy.
Do you think the Chiefs should get him just so when Mahomes' era ends, they'll have this guy?
He's gonna be incredible. He's a really, really good quarterback already as an 18-year-old. So he'll be an NFL prospect for sure. I'm taking Nebraska tonight.
I don't really have a thought on this game, so I'll ride with you. I'll take Nebraska.
The other game tonight I love, Syracuse. Stanford goes to Syracuse. My old friend Kyle McCord playing for the Syracuse.
You ran him out of town.
He's tearing it up.
There we go.
Tearing it
just
up.
need a little motivation.
Good for him. He didn't care about anything in Columbus, and now he cares about everything.
Nothing motivates you quite like an army of football fans forcing you out of a city and pushing you far, far, far away to New York.
That's right, but he's tearing it up, and I don't necessarily know that I love Syracuse -8.5. I think it's a good bet, but it's not my favorite. I think Syracuse team total over 32.5 is my favorite bet. That offense has been rolling. I think McCord's going to get him on the board. They're going to score some points.
There you go. Casey?
I've been trusting Jacob a lot on these college.
That's what I do.
College picks. He knows his stuff here.
I've been doing well in college.
Raiola, love the guy. I'm going to just take Illinois +7.5 though, just to be a contrarian. I'd like to see Nebraska continue to be a good football team. Illinois, they've been decent for the last couple seasons. They have a really good defense. I'll take the fight in Illinois.
Okay. There you go.
Illini.
Fight in Illinois.
Marshall takes on Ohio State. Big game. Marshall upset Notre Dame.
That's right.
So maybe they can upset Ohio State
years ago.
as 40-point underdogs.
Loved this as long as it stayed below 40. I still think I love it at 40. Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to roll. They've dominated. Outside of a first quarter slow start against Akron, I guess, if you can even call it that. They almost won the game by 50. But they've turned it on since then, and they look dominant in their first 2 games against nobodies, and I think they'll do so again. Ohio State season doesn't start until October 12th when they play Oregon.
USC versus Michigan. 11th ranked USC, 18th ranked Michigan. Who do you like here? -4.5 for USC.
15-point swing from the opening line.
Yep.
Michigan opened as, I think, 8.5-point favorites or something along those lines. And now USC, 5.5 yesterday. You said 4.5 now?
Yeah.
I adore it. Whatever that number is, buy it up. Buy it up. Get
I
you
agree.
a plus sign. I think USC is going to run them off the field. I asked Elliot yesterday, and I think it's a good thought exercise for betting on this game. What's a good showing for the Michigan defense? This Miller Moss and the USC offense has looked incredible. What's a good showing for the Michigan defense? 21 points for USC?
Holding 3 touchdowns,
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Can Michigan score 3 touchdowns?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
don't think so.
I'm pretty comfortably taking USC. I'm high on Miller Moss, and I think it's going to be really good.
Miami, Ohio, another MAC school coming to Notre Dame. Another probably another $1.5 million, probably I would say $1.5 million. Maybe I don't know the actual financial information there. -28 against Miami, Ohio.
Miami, Ohio preseason, a much better MAC team than Northern Illinois.
I'm gonna take Miami, Ohio money line.
Okay.
And here's my rationale. I think if one team can do it, another team can too.
I like that.
So I'm gonna take Miami, Ohio. But that spread's irrelevant.
I am going to take Notre Dame.
Oklahoma State, Utah. Oklahoma State's at home 3-0.
The Yunk Bowl.
Utah's on the road 3-0. 2.5-point spread.
2 26-year-old quarterbacks?
That's right.
Combined age of 44, so 26-year-old and a 28-year-old or something like that?
That's wild.
Insane. Yeah, 2 old guys, but Alec Bowman and Cam Rising are both really good. So 2.5. I thought Utah was going to be favored in this game, so I'm going to take Utah and just stick with my gut. But I certainly don't feel great about it. I think this is a coin flip. These are probably the 2 best teams in the Big 12.
Yep.
Kansas State maybe, but those 3 are kind of in a class of their own. I'm going to take Utah as the underdog. I would take either team as the underdog, though.
2 more picks. Miami, Ohio, the 8th ranked Miami, Florida, sorry.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes, 3-0. South Florida, they will be taking on who is 2-1, 17-point spread. I'm going to take South Florida on this. I like South Florida.
I'm a huge Cam Ward guy. I think Miami's great. We are not to the point in the college football season yet where I'm concerned about picking all favorites on a board.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to take Miami here. I don't think 17 is nearly enough. I think they're reacting to how South Florida played against Alabama a few weeks ago to drop that spread down against another power team, and I think Cam Ward's just incredible. So I think they'll pull away. And even if it's close early, which it could be, I think they'll pull away and win by at least 3 scores. I mean, a 3-touchdown win against an American team for a team that we all think is a playoff team is not too much to ask. I think that number's low enough. I'm feeling pretty good taking it.
And finally, we have Tennessee, Oklahoma. The only thing I know about this game is that 95% of money, public money, is all over Tennessee.
Yeah.
Everybody and their brothers on Tennessee. My friend Zach last night, I put $100 on Tennessee. It's free. Oklahoma stinks and Tennessee's really good. Here's my rationale. I'm going to take Oklahoma so hard that it stinks. I'm going to put $200 on Oklahoma because of everybody and their brother being on Tennessee.
Yeah, I really, really wanted to take Tennessee, man. I really wanted to take Tennessee.
Sometimes the public's right, though.
They've looked great so far. Jackson Arnold's looked terrible. Oklahoma's offense has looked terrible. Tennessee scored 60 points in the first half, but the buildings aren't big in Vegas because the public wins 90% bets.
Yeah.
It's 7 points, even.
If you can get it at 7, take Oklahoma. 6.5, I don't know.
I'm going to take Tennessee.
Oh,
I'm going to take Tennessee.
Oh,
They're just so much better. I don't know who I'm going to bet, but I'm going to pick Tennessee.
Oh, no. What are they saying I lied about? I didn't lie. What are we saying I lied? It's like 85%.
It is 79% right now of total bets on Tennessee. More money on Oklahoma.
I'm gonna be in a blender for that.
66% of the money is on Oklahoma.
But that's it. That's our show. Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports. It was silly. Hope you enjoyed it. We're done for the radio. Have a pleasant Friday. Have a great weekend. God bless America. God bless our troops. And gentlemen, start your engines.
Chat power rankings around the corner. Whoa!
What? 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 Welcome on in. Now it's just nonsense. So, Casey, you are going to give us 10 chatters, and we are going to blindly rank them based on the names you provide.
Okay.
I will keep track of this on my computer. These are the chat power rankings of the week. It's been a great week. No Kinner. It's just been the chat's been fun. It's been calm, except for that one Kansas City Chiefs fan that got in here. I think he was a 14-year-old, so I won't give him too much of a hard time. He's just on his troll game. He's just trolling a little bit. But we'll start, Casey.
Everyone liked the stream, too.
All right, we ready?
We're ready.
I'm ready for you.
All right, coming in first up, Matt Bailey.
I'm going to put Matt Bailey at 10.
I was going to go 8.
So we'll go to 9.
Nine
Split
works.
the difference. So 9, Matt Bailey. Okay.
Congratulations, Matt Bailey.
Matt Bailey, you've made the top 10.
Casey, check your phone as well, sir. Reed just asked. So Matt Bailey is at 9.
Okay.
So we have 9 other spots
Yep.
that we're going to fill.
Colin Will.
Great week from Colin.
Yeah, Colin will put up good numbers this week.
I think it's a top 5 week for him.
I was going to put Colin Will at 4.
I was going to go 4 as well.
Just give us that wiggle room, but
okay.
he's really had a good week.
I'm Colin Will. You are the 4th ranked chatter. So let me update
Great work,
this.
Colin. Great work. That's a Mount Rushmore spot.
That's pretty damn good. Okay. 3. Third name.
All right, third name. Let's go with Game Day, 513.
Game Day's always a treat. I don't know if Game Day was as loud this week as he usually was.
No, I don't think so, but he still put together a solid week. I'm
going to go 6.
I think 6 is fair.
Really?
I think 6 is a fair ranking. Yeah, 6 works.
All right. So 6 goes to Game Day. Next up.
Caleb Hines.
I'm gonna put Caleb Hines in one of those top 3 spots.
Is it crazy that I say he's the top 3 chatter of the week?
I was gonna put him at 2.
I'm gonna side with you. 2.
Okay.
Caleb Hines is the second best chatter of the week. Caleb Hines, got it, locked in.
He was locked in this week.
Chase Wellman.
Chase Wellman had a good week too.
Had a great week. But can he get top 2?
I think we gotta put him at 5.
But here's the
Because
thing.
I think
what
we have our top 2 names in our head.
But
though.
what if Casey doesn't use those top 2 names? I'll tell you what. I'll put him at 5.
Okay.
Is that fine with you? Or do you have a different number?
No, I think that works.
All right, Chase.
I think that works.
You are a top 5 power ranked chatter of the week. Casey Rue.
Blackmore.
It's a really good week from him. I'm going to do something crazy.
What are you gonna do?
Can I say something crazy?
I think you can.
I think I'm going to put him at my number 1 spot. I'm going to put him at my number 1 spot. And here's the thing.
So what do we have open
We
on
have
top
one,
of the
we
board?
have 1, 3, 7, 8, and 10.
Okay.
I think I'm going to put him at 1. I think it was a strong week. The sprinkles on mashed potatoes joke really
That
really
was
stuck
funny.
with me
That
today.
was funny. All right, Blackmore. Blackmore, you're getting 1.
Number 1.
You're
Wow.
getting 1.
We've
So what
just-
do we have taken up so far? Let's go over our list.
So Blackmore is the best chatter of the week at number 1. Caleb Hines at number 2. Colin at 4. Chase at 5. 6 Game Day. 9 Matt Bailey. So we still have 3, 7, 8, and 10.
I think we're in a decent spot. I really do think we're in a good spot.
You ready for the next one?
We're ready.
I'm ready. I'm sweating.
Craig Sandlin.
Good thing we have 10 available.
I think that's a unanimous 10.
Ooh.
It's a unanimous 10.
I mean, it has to be, right? He keeps us on track, though. Should we give him 9?
No.
Okay.
We already gave away 9. These 10.
How many do we have left? 3?
3 more. But we have a really high spot and 2 lower spots.
That's right. So we have 3, 8, and 9.
Yeah, but we haven't had Fetters yet.
Right. Or Sir Boy.
Or Mouse Cop.
Well, Mouse Cops.
Or that
we have
one,
2 spots.
or the one member who just has a bunch of letters as their name.
If we can get Inspector Travert on this list, he would be take the number 3 spot.
Yeah.
Sir Boy Wonder.
All right, so we need to have a conversation now, Elliot.
This is where.
Who would be more mad?
What if we don't have Fetters on this? Because this is Casey's fault.
Right.
Casey
That was my
should.
fault.
Casey should have said Fetters by now.
Who would be more mad about being 8 and 9? Fetters or Sir Boy? Hold on. Sir Boy became a member today. I think he has to get the higher spot.
But no, that's not how that works. Fetters has been a loyal member for years and years.
They were both there last night. So
I'm gonna say it, Sir Boy. I love you, Sir Boy. You came last night, but I can't have you dethrone my guy Fetters.
I'm putting Sir Boy at 1.
I'm putting him at
Or at 3.
I'm putting
But what
him.
if
top
I
available
don't use
spot.
Fetters? What if I don't?
I'm putting
pick
Sir Boy at
Fetters?
3. I'm absolutely putting Sir Boy at 3.
All right, Sir Boy's 3.
Sir Boy's 3. Has to be.
All right, Sir Boy is 3.
We have 8 and 9 left over. We're in a bad spot.
I don't like
I'm
the
feeling-
pick.
I'm
I'm
feeling
going to be
nervous.
honest. I don't like the pick.
I'm feeling nervous.
7 and 8.
Nate.
8.
Yeah, slide him in there.
Didn't chat this week, but I love you, Nate.
Finally, we have Mark.
Yeah, look, that's the terror of the blind rankings.
These are blind rankings.
You put yourself in the spot where you could be in a precarious situation, and we found ourselves in just that situation.
So Casey left off Mouse Cop, Spirit Cat,
Tasden.
Wow.
Just to recap, Blackmore 1, Caleb Hines 2, Sir Boy 3, Colin Will 4, Chase Wellman 5, Game Day 6, Matt Bailey 7, Mark 8, Nate 9, Craig 10.
Congratulations to the big top 4, the Mount Rushmore of chat power rankings this week. Of course, you can always change that next week. Blackmore, you are the best chatter of the week.
That's right.
Because
And that's
because the sprinkles on mashed potatoes joke. That was an elite joke. Caleb Hines 2, Sir Boy 3, Colin 4, and Jacob just read all the rest. So, thank you guys very much for having us this week. It was a glorious Friday. Thank you for being silly. Thank you to Sir Boy, Rico, Mike Ackley. Mike Ackley probably should have been on this list too. But Mike, that wasn't our fault. That was Casey's fault.
That's right.
Nate, Fetters, everybody that came and supported us last night, thank you very much. And we'll see you in a couple Thursdays live. But we'll see you on Monday in here.